Hello, I'm your host, Leonard Duncan. Welcome to a new episode of ATV-TALK and Motorsports Podcast. Please join us every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We bring you interviews with industry professionals, live events, live news about the motorsports industry in every episode. Enjoy the show. James Dekoker, how are you, sir? Welcome to ATV Talk.
Well, thank you. This is quite I don't want to say an honor to be here talking to you. And boy, I have a lot of three-wheeling desert racing experience to talk about. And uh, just thank you for inviting me to be on your program and
Well,
show.
you do something that kind of snuck under my radar a little bit, and that's working with the trike team. And we're going to get into how that came to be and why you do it during our conversation. Because, to be honest with you, I didn't hear anything about it until Rangel mentioned it. And I had to ask him, well, what is that? And then he gave me the insight to it. And then I got to talk to you, and here we are.
Yeah, I was a little background real quick. I started out at 18 years old racing desert with a lot of fast guys here in the Southern California desert, and never raced in Baja, Mexico. That was a big challenge for everybody, and I won't go into why. But so I associated with a lot of fast guys. I still associate with all these years, 50 years later, to a lot of the desert racing guys. AC Backen, I talked to Mitch Mays, Heath Hibbard. They're all fast guys back in the day. And so fast forward, 82 comes along, and a friend of mine says, "Hey, get a three-wheeler." I go, "I don't know what those three-wheelers are," but so we go out and I buy an 82 185 S three-wheeler, go out to Glamis, which I'd been to riding motorcycles and my four-wheel drive and Bajas. And so we go out there and I said, well, this looks like fun. And after not wanting to get hurt in the desert, having to go 120 miles an hour, and I decided, well, I just did this for fun, and so fast forward 83 when those 200Xs came out, I went and purchased one, and I said, well, it's got suspension. A new organization in Barstow, which was All Terrain Racing Desert Racing Association. I go out there on a Sunday morning, never had ridden a three-wheeler at speed ever. That never, all I did was put it around. So I entered the race, pipe played it. The desert race starts. I'm the very last guy to start. So I'll slow down there. But uh, so I take off. There's Odysseys, those little Honda single seat dune buggy. And so I bounce around and had no clue again about riding a three wheeler at speed. And I finish and I look around, there's nobody there. And I go, well, I guess I must be last. And the guys go, that I talked to, oh, yeah, everybody's kind of leaving. And I go, okay, well, I'll leave too. 2 weeks later, I get the results. There's over 200 entries. And I finished 13th overall and third in my class. First time ever racing a three wheeler. So that's a little history behind it. And then I go, well, maybe there's something to this because I had desert racing experience. And I know the Honda boys, the 81 and 82 Hondas were the big thing, the 250Rs. But again, I didn't really want to go fast. I just want to go out and have fun. Well, that did last long because I went to White Brothers, their accessory company, and I knew the late Tom and Dan. And I said, hey, remember me? They go, oh, yeah, I had a 75 monoshock Yamaha I raced in the desert. And I said, hey, you guys got an ATC? They go, no, why? And I said, well, I got one brand new. They go, what do you want? And I said, well, you know what? I want sponsorship for parts, and you go do your R&D on it and make it fast and make it so I can go through the desert. And every time I do well, I'll say, hey, White Brothers, White Brothers. He goes, well, how much money does that cost? I said, I, I'm electrical contractor by trade, and I didn't need money. I said, I don't need money. I just want parts, and I'll share White Brothers because you guys are a good company. And that's how we started out, having a uh, R&D with White Brothers, and they did my motors for me, and awesome suspension. And my 200X that I raced, 83, I decided, well, I'm going to duplicate Team Honda's desert bike, and tore it down and put new, I guess at the time they were 84 250R forks on it, and a Tracy Dixon design swing arm. And I had OMF, Tim Orchard. He gave me the skid plates. We designed engines, aluminum skid plates, and off I go. I got a desert trike 3-wheeler and mint. I go, well, I guess I'm better than some. And so we entered with Tim Orchard, the owner of OMF Performance Products, and we finished and went from there. And I saw 3-wheeling. I know you've talked about 3-wheeling magazine, and they had an article about the 82, the Frontier 500. It was the High Desert Racing Association back then. It was a predecessor of the Vegas to Reno race that they're racing now with Best in the Desert. And so I said, put a team together, three of us, and Randy Russell. I'm sure you've probably heard that name. He's won the Barstow to Vegas and numerous events on his 200X, and another gentleman. And so we take off, and at one time we were actually ahead of Team Honda. They had some mishaps, but they took care of it. And a long story short on that is when I took the trike over the second time, I hit a huge rock at night and destroyed the front wheel, but I repaired it and got going. But by the time we had 60 miles to get north to Gabbs, and we were going to time out, and for people who don't know what time out means is if you get to your checkpoint and they say, well, you used up all your time, you're done. You can't go any further. So
Yeah,
we made it
they
just,
they won't let you out of the pit to continue the race.
yeah, that's correct.
Right.
So we got the trike working. I didn't get hurt. It was quite an experience to Dean Sundell passed me, so we had dual lighting. I had the same lighting, dual lighting as Honda, although our lights weren't adjusted properly. That was our downfall. So while I was bouncing around at night, I guess I smacked a huge rock, and I endoed, didn't get hurt, landed in sand, and dead pitch dark. So if anybody has ever been in the dark, trying to crawl around in the sand, not know where you're at, and find the trike. And so, anyways, I pounded out the front rim and got it back to hold air, and that was my experience on the 83 Frontier 500.
This
And
is this is something that I don't think that the younger people that are listening are going to understand, that this is before we had 1,700 different versions of headlamps, and everything was running a AAA or a AA battery, so that you could, have these lights in your backpack. Sometimes it was before you had quality backpacks.
oh, let me interject. This was before anything, cell phones, video phones, electronic anything. We used. I had to call my friend at home to communicate with my father up in Gabs. We didn't have cell phones. We back
But,
then we didn't even have beepers. You couldn't
right.
even beep each other.
There was no
So
tracking devices.
no.
And you mentioned that you fixed the wheel so that you can continue. If you had to think about what goes on in today's world with the youth riders, how many of them are going to be smart enough to repair that wheel?
Well, I won't be negative to anybody, but let's just
It's not
say
negative. It's just
with
calling it out.
today's youth, it's challenging for some. I won't say everybody because I have met uh, a, a few that are very how do I want to say this? They're very mechanically inclined and they can think. And I won't go into that, but great
That's
people
great.
think. I started out. I started working at 7 years old because the ideology was if you want it, work for it, and make sure when you work for it, it's legal, and dream big. Never, if you're going to dream, dream big. And I've been very fortunate and blessed. I've had more than most and less than some, and it goes through a lot of things. And now here, all these years later, I'm 71 years young, and I had to give up my leg, my left leg and foot, 14 years ago, unfortunately, to an infection that I went to the hospital, and that's the way it is. And the only reason for people who didn't know, last year I did not race because it wasn't my leg issue. It's because I have sight issues. And a good friend of mine said, "Hey, man, you don't want to go race if you're not seeing 100%." And so I didn't. And but for all the young people out there, you know what? If you think you can do it, go do it. If you're going to dream, you want to do something, go do it. Don't wait. As I say all the time, you live in today, tomorrow's gone. And yesterday, you hope you can accomplish something better and greater. And that kind of leads up to why I came about last year. I tried 5 years previous. I talked to Wrangle, and he got Best in the Desert to allow three wheelers again, the new generation three wheelers, 8 inches to 12 inches of travel, which all we raced back in the day 40 years ago. We're lucky if we got 8 inches of travel. And the biggest motor you got out there was usually a 250R, and now you're running a 450 to 500. So the
Right.
bikes have more power, they have more suspension, and the younger guys don't understand what we, the forerunners of three wheelers, went through bouncing around in the desert. And a lot of people, my team, well, I say our team because I'm just being a financial backer this year, but everybody's through the from the Midwest, so they don't go out racing and riding in the desert daily like I had the pleasure of doing 40 years ago, and uh, it's quite a challenge for people that are in the Midwest to understand. Well, I can ride a three wheeler, the guys that can, but they don't understand that the Nevada desert, and this comes from Wes McCoy, the team Honda manager. The Nevada desert is the most treacherous desert that is here in the United States, even worse than Baja, Mexico. His words, Baja, Mexico does not compare to the Nevada desert. And for the viewers out there, well, what's the difference? You can have in 100 miles, you can have silt. And silt, I know you've probably talked about, but silt is granulated dirt that is like talcum powder that you can beat a rut in 3 to 4 feet, and they literally swallow up cars, bikes, anything that goes through them. 83, I ended up hitting two vehicles buried in silt. The dust is bad. It sits there when you don't have any wind, and you literally run right into them because they're half buried and you're not seeing. So you
Right.
got silt, you got sand washes, you got cactus, you got critters out there in the desert. You got people that are failing on their machines, and you're weaving around them, and you're going over unexpected terrain. And racing in the desert, as they say, us crazy three wheelers, riders, racers, it's quite a challenge. For the guys that race motocross and some of the Midwest and back east cross country racers, yeah, they got some trees and they got the swamp and the mud and everything. But out here in the desert, boy, and then on top of that, we have the heat. It can be 100 to 120 degrees out there. You're racing, trying to be racing, and you're boiling. And so, being a desert trike racer takes a unique type of rider that really wants to meet the body challenge, the mechanical challenge, and the mental challenge. Uh, Most guys, they get tired, they pull off, and they go, well, I can't go another lap. Well, when you decide in a desert race, oh, I'm tired, I can't go any further, you might be stuck in the desert. You might be out in the middle of nowhere. So it's a desert racing is a total accomplishment. And what I learned from all these years of racing, when you start a desert race, the number one thing you want to do is finish. It doesn't matter your competition, where you are, but if you can't finish in a desert race, well, you know what? You didn't finish it, you didn't complete it. Last year, kind of getting ahead of myself, but uh, last year, as we had our group meeting, I said, hey guys, this is all about us in the desert. Well, we didn't have competition last year. Nobody showed up on a three-wheeler, but we had the desert, and that's the number one accomplishment. Last year was 555 miles across the state of Nevada, and we had some mishaps, and I'll kind of slow down and back up. But as you ask about the American Trike Team, well, I figured last year I had some financial wherewithal, and it takes a lot of investment to take on to put a team together. Excuse me. And so I'll slow down. But for the listeners there, takes a lot of money to put something together. And then on top of that, you need to pick the right team mates that have their own individual success. Now you wonder, you guys go, well, what do you mean individual success? Well, you got to be individually rugged. You got to be mentally, you got to be physically fit. You can't just go, oh, I'm going to be part of the team and have fun. And I won't go into any negativity, but I had a couple guys that unfortunately, they just didn't fit in. So we had some changes last year. And when I met Donnie Pulliam, I reached out to him 5 years ago, and he's a Louisiana trike racer down in the East Coast, Florida, and he's racing now in Texas, doing some cross country racing. I reached to him. I said, "Hey, Donnie, you got any friends that want to join?" And so it was kind of like I rented his trike, his new generation Yamaha 450. And I said, well, I don't have a trike of my own, but hey, why don't we see about putting yours together? And we did. We basically rebuilt it. I was a majority participant financially last year, and Mike, his buddy, he's a Grand National quad racer, and he's won some Grand National quad races last year, and even this year he's won some uh, some quad races. And so Donnie came on board. Mike came on board. Julian Holford, who was the 23 finisher Iron Man, he reached out to me, and so kind of one by one. David Ham, who you had on your program a few weeks ago, he reached out to me, and we actually we reached out to Wrangle because I felt we needed 5 riders, and he came down and we spoke, and basically we had last year we had a team of desert racing winners. They all both David, who I spoke to 5 years ago when everybody was trying to get in on the new Vegas to Reno. and I helped them, guide them in what they needed to do and where to go. And it just turned out we had a good team. How did American Trike Team come about? Well, I believe in America. I won't go into any of the politicals, but America is where we're at. America is the greatest country, and the desert, there's nothing like an American desert. So I came up with American Trike Team, and my number was 500, or our number. I tried to use that number 5 years ago, but again, didn't have the financial wherewithal. So that's how the American Trike Team came about, and we had a group of guys halfway across America last year. And so when everybody says, "Oh well, they're only California, they're only Nevada, they're Arizona," well, we had the guys in the Midwest, which kind of brings us up forward this year. All our guys are in the Midwest. We got Donnie and Mike coming back. He reached out to Red Ryder, who's in Arkansas. We got another 23 participant in the Vegas to Reno. He didn't finish, but he was racing, and he was part of the 22 Vegas to Reno winning group, uh, which is Kevin Addock. And so we've got a new guy that Red Ryder said, Matt, or no, excuse me, that's his dad, Aiden Lipham. He's a young guy out of Missouri that's won some trike races, and so he's going to be the new guy, the newbie. And again, I'm going to be the financial help and give a little bit of advice. And it's just pretty cool to pass this on. I know what it's like to be a team owner, like NASCAR, you got the great guys that run their teams. Well, the excitement of being part of a winning team is unbelievable. Everybody has to perform individually, collectively for the team, because on a race of this magnitude that we're going into, and we're going to be starting, and I'll get into that in detail. Nobody's ever done it on American soil. So for all you young guys out there, you go, "Oh, well, I raced this, I raced that." Well, nobody has ever raced over 1,000 miles in 24 hours on American soil in the United States, ever. The Team Boys 40 years ago, nobody's ever done it. And that's why I'm really anxious to be a part of this, to say, hey, you know what? All these years later, we did something that's never been done. And that's the finish. And then if we're doing well, then we'll say, hey, you know what? We're better than somebody else. But to go 1,000 miles across the desert, actually go up to Reno, change elevations up to 8,000 feet in the pass. And it was told to me that it could be having some snow still, because we're starting this on the first week of summer. And so there's a lot of challenges to this desert race, which it's just unbelievable. And then on top of that, to go forward into this race is going to start about 30 miles northwest of Las Vegas in a town called Pahrump, Nevada. And from what they're talking, they haven't come up with the right starting time, but it could be 10 p.m. on Thursday night, and it could be up to midnight. And we'll be traveling almost all the way to Reno in the dark. If nothing happens, if we have no mishaps, no falls, no breaks, no flat tires, we'll be lucky to make it to Reno by daylight. And then we have the challenge of coming back from Reno all the way back and then finishing at night. Ideally, we'd like to do it at dusk, but if we have mishaps that eat up time, we have a 40-hour time limit, and what's been said is we'd like to finish in 24 to 30 hours if everything goes well. But
I,
as
I
you
think I think that it's totally doable. I wanted to interrupt just for a moment. I wanted to ask you a question. Uh, Back when you were riding back in the 80s, did you grow up in the Barstow area or the Vegas area so that you could just ride in that desert? Are you looking for the best suspension technology for your sport ATV? Look no further than Elka Suspension, the industry leader in sport ATV suspension technology. With championship wins in prestigious events such as the Dakar Rally, Score, Best in the Desert, ATV MX, Cross Country, and Works, Elka Suspension has established itself as the go-to choice for athletes and enthusiasts alike. But they don't just stop at ATVs. They're constantly expanding into new markets, including UTVs, trucks, SUVs, pit bikes, snowmobiles, and more. Their commitment to innovation and quality means they're always looking to improve and adapt so you can enjoy a smooth ride wherever you go. Want to learn more about what Elka Suspension can do for you? Visit their website at elkasuspension.com or give them a call at 450-655-4855. They will always be happy to answer your questions and help you find the perfect suspension solution for your needs. Just to go
no,
train.
I grew up in Orange County, Southern California, Costa Mesa, Newport. I was the guy. Basically, I spent all my time in Newport Beach.
How
Uh,
you go from
fishing, fishing, surfing, skimboarding, and then the way I got into desert racing is I had two teachers that had bought, I think it was 67 or 68 Husqvarna 250s from the late Malcolm Smith, and excuse me, and so we would go out to the desert. 16 years old, we'd go out to what was called Phelan and El Mirage Dry Lake, which El
okay,
Mirage was used for movie sets and for speed contests, speed runs, and then
right?
from there, it was only 2 hours away from Orange County to go out to Barstow, Lucerne Valley, and then Vegas, the famous motorcycle race, the Vegas, not the, yeah, the Barstow to Vegas in '72. I had entered being a novice, just beginning of 2,500 motorcycles, novices on the second wave. And in that race, I was 22nd at the first gas. So I laugh about it now. I guess I was a pretty fast guy back in the day. But anyways,
Oh, yeah, when you have that many guys and you're in the top 20, basically top 25, yeah, you're in the upper echelon, that's for sure.
well, by the time I got to state line, I was in 12th, which is now called Prim. And I always had the motivation, if I could see someone in front of me, I wanted to pass them. I guess I should have been a little more patient, but I went to pass two guys, and unfortunately, I was on the old 395, and part of it was washed out, and I got the washout. Didn't get hurt, just landed in the sand, but I couldn't kickstart my Husky again. Less than
Uh,
30 miles from the finish.
right
So,
there.
but 10 years later, I led the Barstow to Vegas in '83 on my 200X. My friend Randy Russell passed me when I fell in the silt. I ran into a motorcycle, and that was okay. I waved as he went by, and I finished second. So I finished the Barstow to Vegas, the longest race at the time, 187 miles. And I finished also in '84. I had a brand new '85 model 250R. I bought the first one down here in Orange County, Santa Ana Honda, and again, White Brothers did suspension, and I ended up going faster than I ever thought I could, 90 miles an hour on three wheels. And just when people talk about jumping things, well, I jumped off about 50-foot drop off, and I got to live and I landed safely. And people can't believe that, but yeah, I've had some experiences, and I finished third in my class on a 250, and so yeah, I've had some fun racing through. Excuse me. Mm. So I've had some fun racing three wheelers over the years, and I still haven't given up. Uh, it Glamis going down to playing the sand dunes. I've done that on about everything you can, other than a side by side, and uh, just a lot of fun playing in the dirt. A lifetime.
Sounds
Uh,
like it. That's pretty awesome stuff. You know, you got to ride in our deserts back when they were truly new for the off-roading community. I mean, there was some Jeep trail stuff and things like that, but you were out there when paving the roads or riding on virgin desert or some maybe generated Jeep trail that was very rarely used. A lot of the stuff they race on now out there has been worn in for 50 years.
well, you know what's interesting about that? I started in the high desert. Well, the high desert Mojave is totally different from the low desert down in San Diego area. And once I had the opportunity to race down in the low desert, and I'm not taking anything away from the Mojave upper desert, the San Diego desert down low, Plaster City, Superstition Mountains is a lot of fun because annually, I don't know what it is now, but back then, annually, when it rained, it was flash flooding, and all the sand washes would clean out, and it was like it's like racing on a sand highway. And the thing that I realize now, I was very blessed and fortunate on two wheels to race with the best racers, desert racers back then. And then fast forward to 83, I started racing the three wheeler. Dean Sundahl, Mark Waxoffer, Stevie Wright. I interacted with those guys, and I always had the attitude, hey, I'm out here for fun. Let you guys be the professionals. And I can say, and I'm not going to be boasting, but I guess I am a little bit. I actually beat Team Honda in '83. Me, I'll just say a nobody. The Barstow to Vegas in '83. There's 8 support Honda riders and Wax. And when I went by Wax, he got a flat tire, so don't think I'm a better rider. It's just circumstances. But I passed him, and he flashed the number 2 sign, and I'm going. I got 15 riders. I got 8 Honda support riders, and I'm second. Well, past the Razor Road, which was 22 miles, a guy in a 250R, I think, blew it up. And I'm leading the race. And you talk about a guy that I'm leading the fastest, longest, or I shouldn't say fast. Well, it is the fastest also for some, but I'm leading the Barstow to Vegas three-wheeler race in '83. And I tell you what, I led that all the way to state line prim, and that was quite an accomplishment to say I actually beat Team Honda. Uh, and even when we did again '83, the Frontier 500, we were ahead of Team Honda for a little while, but not due to rider, just due to unfortunately their machine broke. But Wes McCoy figured out how to get it fixed, and they passed us. But it's been a great relationship, both on motorcycles and three wheelers. And even another friend of mine in the 90s decided to go race a Class 9 car, and I partnered up with him in the Mint. I think it was 90 in the Mint 400. We were leading the 9 class, but I was only a co-driver on that one, and they got too tired, so they didn't want to win the race in the Class 9 car. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a unbelievable challenge. I guess I've been there. I've got to see the great Parnelli Jones and Walker Evans. I've seen Roger Mears. I almost got hit and run over by him. So I've really benefited from the age and just being there. It's quite an accomplishment to come across. I've even met Mickey Thompson in '84, the fastest man on four wheels, and the guy that started Score Racing. And in '73, I was there with Team Husqvarna, and so I've been very fortunate to meet a lot of fast motorcycle, car racers, desert racers. Even here's a story. Ivan Stewart, who was the fastest truck racer, we were out at Laughlin, and my late wife, she come running up to our pickup. She goes, "There's people sitting on the back of our truck," and she was really excitable. And I said, "Hey, wait, hold on, honey. You don't know who that is? No, they're guys. There's a couple drinking our beer." And I said, "Well, you know what?" So I walked up to him. I said, "Hey, Ivan, you can sit in our truck all you want. Just help yourself to a beer or a cold drink." And my wife's baffled. "You know who he is?" I said, "Everybody knows who Ivan Stewart is." So, so then we're sitting in the hospitality tent, and he's got his everybody there talking to him and everything. And I told my wife to go over. "Hey, go talk to Ivan and get him to sign your program." And so she was kind of a celebrity for a minute. She goes, "Oh yeah, this is the guy's wife that kicked me out of his truck." That was on national TV. So yeah, I've been blessed. I've really been blessed with knowing and just having fun. I'm still friends today with pretty much a lot of people from all walks of life, and it brings back to fast. Oh, one other thing I was going to say. Back in '84, the late Otis Fuddpucker, which I know you've heard that name and probably met, he was a great promoter down in District 38. He was a good guy, and I think it was no, '84. I was still racing my 200X, and there was word that the guys were getting a little disgruntled because all the young guys were winning the desert races down there in District 38, San Diego area. So they got together and said, "Hey, why don't we get a class for over 30 vet ATC riders?" And so there was about, I don't know, three, four, five of them. And so I got wind of it, and I go, "Hey, Fudd, I hear somebody wants to start a vet class." He goes, "Yeah." And and I kind of laughed. He goes, "Well, can I take my points?" And I guess I was doing okay uh, in the 200X class. And he goes, "Well, when are you going to turn 30?" And I said, "Well, a year ago." So when I started racing three wheelers, I was an old man compared to the young guys, 18 to 22. I was 30 years old in '83. And now I'm an ancient man at 7'1", and I'm still out there helping and participating. Last year, 71 years later, or I mean 71 years, and being an amputee, I'm the only guy that ever did that. It's
Do
never been done before. So
I
that's kind of my claim to fame last year. There's a guy racing, Sammy Ehrenberg, which is a good guy. He's still active and racing, and he'll probably be part of the trike team that's going to be entering the Baja Nevada with other great guys. And if it wasn't for me, he'd be claiming the oldest guy. But I guess I could say I beat somebody out, laughing, being oldest and an amputee. Which I laugh because I had to give up a leg to still be here, but I'm still here and I'm still walking. And like I said before when we started our conversation, you're never too old, and you can never stop trying. Uh, you got to keep trying in whatever you do. And a little bit of philosophy that I've had over the years. And again, I'm a guy that, and this isn't a boast. Anybody can do this. I've had more experiences in life than most men don't, but some do. And so, with that attitude, and I'll just say the younger generation, they they don't have enough people to, promote that. Hey, you can do it. Uh, it's more of a cautious society now that we live in, but great things happen when you push the boundaries. And
I've been holding this question. You've been around for a long time and you've seen a lot of different eras of racing. What are some of the differences that you could just pick out really quick between the rider of today and the rider of your era?
caution,
Just
that
caution.
caution. I had a young guy, and what I'll say, the philosophy of a young man is, well, going out in the desert, you've got to be, you got to have Camelback for hydration, and you got to have solar blankets, and in case you get stuck out there, and you got to have first aid medication, uh, and I'm not saying that's wrong, but what I'm going to say, like you had mentioned about the virgin desert, and it's not used up like a lot of the desert is. We were raw. We saw it as in some sports races. You start once you leave the starting line, the next place you're going to end up is one finish line. However you get there, if you're the first guy and the best guy, you win the race. And so to again caution everybody's caution, we're going to get hurt. Well, my philosophy is, yeah, I know what getting hurt is. I left my back in Cal City. I've crashed into a fence. Fortunately, in a desert race, I hit it about 70 miles an hour, and I was blessed that the fence was there. I probably would have drowned it going in the California aqueduct that went underground. Nobody would have known where I was, but I hit the fence and have a scar from that. And you just nowadays, would I do it again? Well, you know what? If you're out there to win, it's kind of the old saying: you win at all costs. And sometimes the all cost isn't good. But then you can look at desert racing guys, the greats, Mitch Payton and Mitch Mays. They're winners. Unfortunately, they had some health mishaps, but even Malcolm Smith in '73, he the year before he broke his leg, so he couldn't race again the '73 Baja 1000. So he took on a single seater. I and my friend Heath, we were down there, and he came into the pits we were at with his single seater broken. Everybody's looking at him. I said, "Hey, Malcolm, remember us?" He goes, "Yeah, I know you guys. What do you need?" So me and Heath fixed his single seater, and he went on to win it with a broken leg on the mend. So
Nice.
uh,
Didn't he make CBS Sports after that?
I I'm not sure. I think he did. There was a commentator, I forget his name, but I think yeah, I think he did. Uh, that's another guy that I interacted for over 50 years. Rest in peace, Malcolm. he we used to go in weekly in '72 when AC Backen was sponsored by him, and we stopped there every Saturday morning and stop and say, "Hey, Malcolm." And Heath Hibbard had bought his Husky back then from Malcolm, and so we interacted with them. I've again legends. I met the late Marty Smith. Had a conversation with him. I met Bob Hanna. Real awesome conversation with him, and it's just been it's been a great ride for me. All the important fast individuals, whether it's on two wheels, three wheels, or four wheels, and it's been just an awesome ride, and I'm still riding and looking forward to tomorrow.
Are you ready to be captivated by one of nature's masterpieces? Discover the breathtaking beauty of Antelope Slot Canyon, a natural wonder in Page, Arizona. Join us on a guided tour and immerse yourself in the mystical light beams, rich colors, and serene landscapes. With tours at prime sunbeam hours, experience photographer's paradise and capture memories that will last a lifetime. Comfortable shoes, a camera, and a smile are all you need for this adventure. Book your journey today at Antelope Slot Canyon Tours and let the canyon enchant you. Please visit us now, antelopeslotcanyon.com, for more details.
That's so great. I got to go on a ride. Why can't I remember the name of the place? They had a scheduled loop ride on one of the Indian reservations up in
Ducati.
huh?
Oh, I'm sorry.
It wasn't
Here,
Ducati. It was up here.
Saboba.
Saboba. Yeah,
Saboba?
yeah.
Yeah.
Malcolm rode that ride. He led that ride. He was the first guy off the line, and man, incredible. I got crossed loop somehow and came in earlier than I was supposed to. I was one of the last guys off the line, and I came in the top 30. No, I wasn't in the top 30. Was not that fast, not even close to that good. I missed part of the loop somehow. Um, and they transitioned me right into the faster line. And when I got done, he had already finished.
Yeah,
Could not believe he was that still, and this is in the early 2000s, that he was still that fast and that good of a rider on a motorcycle.
well, that's kind of like the old saying, when you learn how to ride a bike, you never forget.
Right.
Here's something nobody knew, not even my team members last year. I got on again. I didn't race the whole way. I ceremoniously got on and rode the trike onto the finishing platform, but nobody would have let me get on the trike if they knew I hadn't been on a three wheeler in 30 years. And I said that afterwards. They go, "You got on a trike? You hadn't been on a trike in 3 years, 30 years?" I go, "No, but hey, you just go out there, you do it." And the only thing that I didn't know, right, I would have had no problem when we went to high flight and we were doing some checking at night. I wanted to get on the trike, but we were too busy checking lighting, and I didn't want to get in the way. But if I would have had 30 minutes riding on it, I would have had no problem. The only difference is the new generation trikes, they have high torque, where the old Hondas, you could lug them down in first gear. Well, the new trikes are a little hyper, and probably the gearing too. But when I went onto the platform, it stalled right there at the apex. But other than that, it felt good. A three wheeler's a three wheeler, and if you're a racer, you never give up.
I got to
So,
go and do a story with um, Ham and Wrangle and Julian and a couple other guys. We did it in David Wiley. We went down to Arizona and tested a couple of these machines and talked about them. And I got to ride the modern day four-stroke three-wheelers. I loved them. I thought they were just night and day better than the traditional stuff. They had a 350X that wasn't bad, stock suspension, but those modern day three-wheelers, they were just so much fun to ride. I'd actually go ride one because it was comfortable. They were nice.
right. I had all the 200X, the new generation 250R, and the 350X, because I was in 85 getting ready to race down in Mexico with the 350X. But when I started racing it around Barstow and everything, it was heavy and sluggish compared to my 250R. And when I did the 85 Barstow to Vegas, I wasn't real happy, and I got a flat tire because I didn't use the right tire choice, and I just said, well, I didn't finish 85. But the 350X had uh, alternate suspension and a lot of horsepower and everything. A lot of fun to ride. I love my 350X. It was a lot of fun to ride if you wanted just like going down to Glamis. You could putt up those hills and, excuse me, and uh, it's a great bike to putt around on. I just didn't feel it was a comparable for a race trike. But Wrangle proved that wrong when he Ironmaned back in 21, I believe, when he did the Vegas to Reno and finished. And so yeah, they're good machines.
Right.
There's nothing bad about them.
I think I don't think enough development at the time. Everybody was so focused on the two-stroke. I just don't think enough development was done. If the three wheelers would have kept being built, maybe that 350X would have taken off better in the desert. It would have been, I think, a better choice for long distance racing.
Well, if you look at the side by sides, and I'm just doing it as a comparison, uh, in '06, '05 and '06, Yamaha had their Rhino 600 cc's, and now here we are 19, 20 years later, and you're getting Can-Ams that are putting out 250, and Speed Machine puts out 300 horsepower on a side by side. So, in the same thing as you're saying, you're right. If the three wheelers only lasted 5 years, uh, basically 86 they were over. They banned them and said, "Oh, you shouldn't ride on them," because we all know the story. But for the people that learned how to ride them correctly, and I always say I never got hurt bad on a three wheeler compared to my motorcycle. I don't know anybody, me personally, that raced a three wheeler that got paralyzed. That's not saying that people didn't, that were just out there play riding and all that. But I do know two racer guys, and again, Mitch Payton and Mitch Mays, they got paralyzed from a motorcycle. So if you say, hey, it's dangerous racing three wheelers, well, again, I don't know anybody that got paralyzed on a three wheeler. And I'm not saying people are better than that. I just don't think that the speed of a three wheeler is incomparable to a motorcycle, and that kind of fast forwards to the desert racing as a whole, as one of the guys had said, and I don't know, the trophy trucks now will overtake the motorcycles, and it might have been Andy Kirker, who's a racer in his own right. The trophy trucks will always win off road because the trophy truck will go 160 miles an hour in the desert, topped out. The motorcycle's lucky to do 120. So, there's been big advances all the way across the board in desert racing. At one time, if you followed the car sports, NASCAR and Indy cars, going 160 miles an hour on the asphalt. That was fast for a NASCAR on
Right.
asphalt. And now they're hitting almost 200, and Indy cars are hitting over 250 on the back straight. So, it's all comparable. As we advance in time, we're getting more horsepower, we're getting lighter, we're using downforce, and it goes through the whole spectrum of speed. And it's just, for me personally, it's just awesome to be able to just understand what is capable and who's capable of doing it. And I don't take anything away from anybody. I mean, you have the same effort as a slow race car as you do a fast. You're still using the same mentality that you want to win. Some go faster, but you still got to beat the desert. And I'll just say, last year when we went in the award presentation, there's over 200, I believe, 20 or 25 entrants last year to the Vegas to Reno, and less than half finished. So when people go, you had no competition, well, all the cars had competition. They couldn't even get it to the finish line. So with this year, fast forward here in 90 days, it's going to be quite a challenge to do, not for people to think, okay, well, the Vegas to Reno is 555 miles. Oh, well, they finished that. Well, no, we're racing two of those back to back with no break. And
Right.
that's what I'm telling my guys. They're going, well, why talk to guys in Mexico? I go, no, 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 no. Do not. Mexico again is Mexico. Let's talk about Nevada desert. Talk to somebody that's done it. Well, we don't know anybody that's done it. That's right, because nobody has done it.
There you go.
And so when you think of the challenges of 500 miles going from Pahrump to Nevada to Reno, that's a challenge in itself. But then when you think you accomplished something, you're only 50% there.
You got
And
to come back.
we haven't had a group meeting yet, but I'm thinking our race is going to be about the 7 to 750 mile mark. That's when our race should start. Because if we can't make it to 750 miles, it doesn't matter where you are. The finish line is at 1,000 to 1,054. I don't know the exact mileage, but it's over 1,000 miles. And just the comprehension, there's 25 pits, which is just, it's unbelievable. The challenge of the race of our team racing, along with the pit crews that are going to be racing, to make sure that we're there on time and we have the right proper supplies, tires, fuel, filters, chain lube, and plus making sure our riders are well hydrated, because we can be going from 100-degree heat, and then all of a sudden, I spoke to Wrangell up there, northern Nevada. We could be having snow on the summit up there, so you can go from 100 degrees plus scorching, and then all of a sudden you're going to freezing weather. And last year we finished, I think, 1 a.m. and it was cold in Reno. It wasn't freezing, but it was darn close. So the challenges of this particular race is going to be multifaceted.
Oh,
And
totally. Totally. Because your weather changes, your elevation changes. That's going to affect your fuel. That's going to affect the tuning. Riding a modern day 4-stroke, it doesn't affect it the same way if you were riding a 2-stroke. I know a few years back when I was working with a team on Best in the Desert, we played with some different fuels to offset the elevation. So there's a lot of innovation today that they didn't have back in the 80s. So there's advantages to it. The knowledge level that the riders and the teams had back in the early 80s to the late 80s, it's not even on the same plateau as the guys of today. Some of the people that race today, the machines and the things that they're dealing with are so much different. You talked about the safety issues now with, you got to have a camelback, you got to have your space blanket, you got to have matches, you got to have all these things. Well, they learned all that from all of you warriors that went out there and did it with nothing, and took a huge chance in your safety, and you didn't even realize it because you were just having fun.
Well, that it's kind of back in the day, we didn't go out anticipate all the negativity of racing. And I'm not saying that's wrong, but we went there with the attitude, we're starting to race, and how do I get to the finish? And hopefully I'll finish better than somebody else. So with that being said, yeah. And plus realizing that the courses are now beat up more than they were 50 years ago. You have more of a challenge with the terrain being beat up than you did back then. And the desert, it was just a fun place to ride, that you weren't getting beat up with high whoop-de-doos everywhere. And I just, I, I'm not saying the experience is worse or better. It's different.
Right.
And then plus, take on the fact that 40 years ago, 50 years ago, motorcycles only had 3 to 4 inches of travel. You're going 100 miles an hour across the desert on a motorcycle with 4 inches of travel. And Charles Kernut came up with 6-inch shocks, and that was like night and day. But then if you went to fast forward to 75 on a motorcycle, monoshock, Yamaha, and that was like putting your leg on a pillow, because now you have 8 or 9 to 13 inches of travel. So you're hitting things faster, you're flying high, and you're landing soft. And that's the same way with a stock 200X, which I modified, and I think I had 8 inches of travel on that. And then my 250R, when you had adjustable valving on your shock, you're literally, and I did this, you're riding out in Lucerne Valley in the desert soft sand. You can make it soft and cushy, and plus I put a Mark wax offer gifted me in '84 his new desert seat, and that was like riding on a pillow
Right.
compared to a stock Honda seat. You had 6 inches of foam versus 2 inches of foam. So here you got, like you're saying, the development of the comfort of the rider was overwhelming. Suspension travel, seat thickness, and then the horsepower to get you out of sliding on a three-wheeler. There's a lot of advancements, which is still advancing today on the three-wheelers.
I just think it's, going from riding three-wheelers when I was riding them in the 80s. I was riding three-wheelers still a little bit when we were transitioning in 86, 85, 86 to the four-wheelers. I was still riding the three-wheelers because that's what I had. And then you transfer from the three-wheeler to the four-wheelers, and to transfer back. I can't believe that we're even working on the technology for the three-wheeler. It's pretty amazing, and we've come so far with our suspension technology, especially for these modern day trikes. You're adapting these motorcycle forks that are upside down. They're capable to handle more. So these three-wheelers can actually carry a higher mile an hour with the right rider on it than you could ever imagine before. And that the strength of that four-stroke motor allows them to easily run in, to the high 80s, low 90s with no effort.
This is I'm going to kind of say this out for your viewership. I'm thinking about I'm going to be part of a team. I've already spoken to some individuals, a gentleman out of Florida that already has a 200X electric. And I hope in the next year, we're going to develop the first electric trike to finish a desert race. And so you get to hear that first. I'm a guy that always wants to progress and go forward and do something that's never been done before. In the cars, Baja, they've tried to race a car and to no success, but I'm reaching out and I set the idea that 26, I want to be part of the team that finishes a major desert race on an electric trike. And so all these guys, your viewers are going, well, that's crazy, that's insane. Well, you know what? Everything that comes about starts with a thought. And if it's a thought, somebody thinks of it. If somebody runs with it, it can happen. And I'm hoping I can be part of somebody out there that's listening that wants to jump on board and try to make a trike team next year electric. I feel that's the next accomplishment that would be a first. And
I want to hear more about that, because in all of the information that I have right now, based on the electric ATV market, we don't have enough battery technology yet to make that a reality.
okay, see, this is what everybody has said, but being that I use electric tools for almost 20 years, the question is not if it's long enough, how quick can you change it and how often do you need to change it? And then the cost. Well, when I look at things, the cost, a three-wheeler to race a three-wheeler from start is about 30 grand. If you want to go into a side-by-side now, speed machine ready to go is about 150,000. Well, if we just had a conversation, I just had a conversation. If you got to have 52 batteries and it's $52,000, you're still saving money over the other vehicles in the sport. So it's just a matter of is the lithium batteries, how long do they last on a full use charge? And can you accommodate in the time period the mileage of being able to swap out a battery, and how long does it take to swap a battery out in relation to filling up a gas tank with gasoline fuel? So you said the first thing that everybody comes to mind, but there's a solution to that. So the question is, how do you come up with a solution to be able to accomplish that?
So Mike Walsh, an ATV developer for quads, has built a machine that's really fantastic. It's super fast using the Honda platform. I forget the name of the company that's working with him. And he has openly said that this machine's definitely fast. The problem is to change that battery on that machine, the way it's designed, takes about an hour and a half.
Yeah, see that again, that's the question is how long does a battery last on a charge? You can't recharge them. I mean, you can recharge them in your vehicle from pit to pit, but you're not going to go say, oh, we'll put the battery in and then we'll wait till recharge and we'll go forward. You got to be able to fast change a charged battery. But then again, you said, and I agree with you, how long does it take to replace a recharged battery? And you're right. I mean, there's complications, but those complications lead to solutions. So one by one, as you look at the complication, then you look at the solution. And I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight, but maybe one time in the future, it could come about. I mean, technology and And we know even from Elon Musk with all his electric vehicles and everything else, if somebody looks at, well, what's it take and how do we do it? And yeah, it takes a lot of money. That's another primary resource that most of us don't have.
Well, I'm not opposed for it. I'm not a fan of the electric stuff, but I'm not opposed to it. I'm just not a fan. Um, I think that it's totally somebody can figure it out. But here's one of the things, here's a plus and a minus. When I'm on my ATV and we have a gas and go race, we're spending, even with a filter change, 35 seconds in the pit. That's gas, changing the filter and going.
Right.
So we have to get those. Here's the benefit to the electric. Maybe we can go 3 pits. If I can get that battery changed down to less than 5 minutes, we can gain enough time over the accumulative. So where if I get to a pit where I have to change a tire, air filter, gas, now I've just taken that, less than a minute in my gas motor pit. I've just extended it to a 3 to 4 minute pit. And if I'm dragging a tire with my electric, is it going to suck the battery down quicker? Or are we're gonna have to experience the modes? Do we put it in a lesser mode when we have a flat tire so that we can conserve the battery? I mean, there's some things that definitely have to be worked out. I love that. I love the thinking portion of it.
The and I'm agreeing again, the challenges of going from one form of energy, fuel, and here's another thing little people don't know about me. My family was involved with Thomas Edison in the 1892 World's Fair, seeing the electric light bulb for the first time. So my grandfather was one of the first electricians that became electrician because of Thomas Edison's invention. Excuse me. And so being a third generation electrician, electrical contractor, and I'm all for EV energy. Don't get me wrong, but EV energy and all forms of energy has to be a public choice. They do not need to be mandated that one day you have to ride and I'm just saying figuratively, one day you're pedaling a bicycle and then they say you got to have an electric bicycle, but yet you can't have a fuel fossil motorcycle.
Right.
And the way there everybody's thinking, and I'm just saying my opinion, well, they want everybody to go back to pedaling bicycles, which isn't going to happen. And the same thing with out here in California. They're going to mandate that we're going to get rid of fossil fuel, but people don't realize fossil fuel is not powerful energy. It's a part of our everyday life of manufacturing goods and products we all use every day, plastics and all the other things. So, I kind of get off my horse on this philosophy, but we have to be challenged amongst all the energy resources so we can continue on into the future. And I think it's a benefit for everybody to whatever they choose to do, they jump on board and do the best research and ability so they can succeed in their own right at whatever they choose to do. And after this year, for myself, I hope we do well on this monumental undertaking of a desert race in Nevada. And I'd like to, if maybe not next year, maybe a couple of years in the future, somebody takes a battery and puts in a 3-wheeler and runs with it. It'd be accomplished again, major accomplishment, and not taking away from a quad either. I've heard that guys are more interested in having an electric quad than they are a 3-wheeler, but either way, it'd be kind of cool to be able to succeed in doing that. And if it means that, like back in the day when and I don't remember, Kawasaki came out with the detuned 200X or 200 Ducati, and Honda had to follow through making a 200 two-stroke. Maybe it might be that enough people are interested that they make electric vehicle class for off-road racing. That might be something in the future too. But
I think that that's going to happen. I'm just not sure we're ready yet.
well, from what I've found through my short years here, again, longer than most. I'm part of 6% of the world's population now. For people that, well, I'm an old guy. There's only 6% of us still around. So when you think about that, yeah, our time clock is running out. But on the other hand, it's never too late to challenge something that's never been done before. And the time is now. When you say, well, you don't know in the future, well, if somebody said, hey, let's go do it and get it done, well, in 1 year, you know what? It could happen if somebody really, or a group of people said, you know what, I'm going to make this happen. So it takes a group of people with the same attitude, and that's not a fallacy. It's just to get everybody going in the same direction at the same time. And that's what racing as a team is all about. It goes back to what we're talking about, a team race this year. Again, the longest desert race on U.S. soil. It's again, I'll go back and I'm repeating myself, but it takes 5 guys or 4 guys, whatever the team wants to put together. It takes each one of those guys to excel the best of their ability. And with them excelling, the whole group, the whole team wins. It's like a baseball, the Dodgers last year. They excelled. They won it all. NASCAR, they have a team of mechanics. They have a crew chief. They all do the same thing. And for your riders, and I'm sure, or viewers, I don't know if you guys realize a NASCAR race is won under a minute on tire changes in a most NASCAR races. 1 minute that crew has to collectively change tires and fuel and go. 14 seconds. Think
Right.
about that.
Right.
So, as we're talking about, seeing in the future and everything, I just have this awesome perspective from seeing great people in the past. Elon Musk, I'm going to throw out there. Yeah, he's a rich guy, but he's also made things happen. Solar panels, solar energy. He's done his electric cars, good or bad. He's still made it happen. His SpaceX, great man. He made something happen. And again, I'm not trying to say, hey, this, that, or the other, but the man created and brought our astronauts back. Why were they there 9 months? Why couldn't we bring them back on time? So great people do great things. And I'm not saying I'm a great person. I'm just a person that sees tomorrow. Yesterday's gone. And for all you viewers and listeners, I hope a little bit of what we're talking about. Just I know in the school district, you get participation trophies, which we get when we start a desert race. But the real trophy we get is accomplishment of finishing, the accomplishment of what we did ourselves that makes us a successful person in our own right.
Right.
And and it doesn't go to sports. It goes into a lifetime of philosophy and success in whatever you do.
What do you think of
And
this? So I have one of the guys that comes on the show with me a lot. His name's Joe Tall. He's got ATV on demand and UTV on demand and dirt bike on demand, and he does videos. Well, we were talking about how can we get more people, young people involved in off-roading and the sport of ATVs or motorcycles, whatever it is. And he said, on the electric vehicle side, what's wrong if we have electric three-wheelers, four-wheelers, motorcycles, go-karts, whatever they are? There's a baseball field, multiple baseball fields, soccer fields in everybody's community. What about bringing those motocross tracks back, or those tracks back under the lights in your neighborhood with electric vehicles? So you're introducing these young people not only into a different sport, but into motorsports right in your neighborhood, and the neighbors can't complain because the noise level isn't there.
Well, see, and that's there's a young family out of Texas, Mike Adcock and his wife Alina, and their little son Nicholas. He's a three-wheeler racer since I think 5 or 6 years old. We nicknamed him Whole Shot Nick. He's been winning just about every start of a race that he's been on, Texas series. And now, because they banned the three-wheelers, I guess last winter, September, they went over to a quad, and he's still multi-capable. And another thing for the young guys and parents too is, when your kids go out and ride and race BMX and the quads now, your child is learning more than going fast. It's learning the dexterity of being able to think. Well, hey, I got to turn left. I got to turn right. Hey, I got to hold on. Oh, I got to turn the throttle off. You learn stamina. You want to win. You get that determination if it's taught. The determination that when you start a race, you want to do as good as you're able to. So for me, of course, going through life, I mean, again, which I said, starting out, hey, I got to make money to want what I want, and being able to, if I want more, then I got to work more and harder, and I got to learn more so I can do more. And that's a part of society, and I'm just saying that needs to be brought back, is the will to self-accomplishment and succeed. And I like your idea. Uh, uh, the 20 years ago, I believe, or yeah, it's 20 years ago, they started the side-by-side racing league. Now, everybody's going over 100 miles an hour on a side-by-side. Well, the same, like you say, why not come out instead of league baseball and football and all that? Hey, have a league electric vehicle for the kids to go out there and have fun, and you don't have to buy fuel. You just got to charge up a battery at home, and you're not worrying about toxic spilling gas and catching things on fire. And I think it's a great idea.
We're kind of worried about the batteries catching on fire, but
Well, yeah, I was going to say that.
Technology will get better.
Well, it's a good idea, and like I started out going to Speedway racing there in Costa Mesa, Orange County. It was such an unbelievable thing, and the way we found that out is cross town. We heard this Friday night. We heard this unbelievable. What do I want to say? Just a noise, that a roar. We heard a roar, and all of a sudden it let off, and then we hear roar. Well, those were Speedway bikes in '69 when they was 16 years old. They started racing Speedway there at the Orange County Fairgrounds, and we followed the sound to find where the race was. Well, so, but because noise pollution is a big deal these days, and dust pollution, yeah, it'd be a good idea to get people involved, kids involved in doing something that they can have fun, they can learn. Eyesight, they're keen on their eyesight. There's just so many facets of going through learning that's a benefit of motorsports.
Get some
Even
get some out of the house, get some off the couch.
well, it gets them away from sitting there looking at a screen.
Yep.
That's my opinion. Everybody in today's world, they're sitting there glued to their screen. They're not even paying attention when they cross the street. And you've probably seen that too. It just, we need to have a multi-dimensional lifestyle that we had 50 years ago. Again, for me, I'm not saying electronics isn't good. I think it's great, but there's a time and a place. You don't live 24/7 on a screen. There's a lot of great things and adventures that you can do out there in the desert, or you're going like in Utah. I fell in love with Utah side by sides, and the Paiute ATV trail, 900 miles going through the state of Nevada. 5 years ago, my wife grew up in northern Utah, and that's another facet that I did not experience being younger. And it's just a wonderful experience to be going out there on an RV, going seeing natural wildlife, the pine trees, and so yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that in the future positive that can be accomplished.
Exactly. James, I'm going to ask you to come back on the show another time. We've covered a lot of great stuff. I think there's more to talk about, and there's going to be more to talk about when this event happens here in a few months, and we're going to be able to get down and find out exactly how it all worked out for you. So I hope that you'll accept my invitation to come back and tell me all about it.
Well, Leonard, I want to say thank you, and I applaud you for your show. I only learned about your show through Donnie, I believe, probably less than 4 weeks ago, and I've been able to view in with you talking to David Ham, the winner of the Parker Dam 500, and then I listened to your interview with Wrangell, and again, I just in a short notice. I reached out to you, and I'm glad I'm talking to you. And I again thank you for your invite. And I guess I'm going to say, not really apologize, but I'm a talker, and I probably talked more than you had a chance to get in. But you know what?
People don't
Yeah,
want to hear you talk. Want to hear you talk.
well, I could do that. I've done that for a lifetime and a lifetime of stories. So, yeah, you know what? I look forward to being back, and if it's before the race, we'll have more information on our individual riders. If I may say, I'd just like to announce our riders, if I could.
Right ahead.
Uh, we got Donnie Pulliam. He's out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. He's a accomplished three-wheeler racer and a quad racer. We got his friend Mike Wise, who is also accomplished Grand National quad racer out there, and they're both cross-country racers. They go out to Texas, the series, and then they came out here last year to the Vegas Reno, and everybody thought, oh, they're Midwestern boys. Well, those boys can ride, and they ride fast and they ride hard. And then we got Red Ryder, who's from Arkansas, and he's an accomplished racer. He finished the 22 Vegas to Reno and won it, and he also was running first, but he got second in 23. And so again, he's an accomplished desert racer. And we got Kevin Haddock. Again, he's out of Wichita, Kansas, a Midwestern boy, but he was part of the team in 22 with Red Ryder, and he won. They won that in 23. Unfortunately, his riders had some mishaps, so he chose not to finish, which is okay. They attempted it. And then we got a young guy. He's Aiden Lipham, and he's a young guy. He's, I believe, 21, and he's out of Missouri, and he's an accomplished young man that's win some races, I believe, and so we're gonna have quite a team of successful three-wheeler racers and winners. And with my financial support and just coaching, I'm looking forward that we're going to be the first one ever to accomplish this. And again, I want to say thank you to you, Leonard, for your time and your invitation. And I'm looking forward to coming back, and you'll be talking to a group of winners.
Well, that's great. I can't wait. James, I want to thank you again so much for coming on the show, and tell your wife thank you so much for the assist in making this happen for us. Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, don't forget to share us with your family and friends. The podcast is available on all streaming platforms, and you can find us on social media as ATV-TALK Podcast. We're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Rumble, and Twitter.